Hey everybody, Ethan here, back with another video for you guys. As promised, I'm going to be uploading quite a bit more. So this is actually going to be part 2 of a kind of long project. I actually have had other videos on it in the past. I had part 1 and that was a while ago. I don't even remember when I did that video, but I finally am around to getting the second part done, which was partly due to time and partly due to the fact that I didn't have the parts yet. So this is Project Shut the Fuck Up Part 2. Now, many of you probably know already if you've been following the channel, and if you don't, I'll brief it here. I have a pretty good-sized FreeNAS, and it's built in an old SuperMicro chassis with two Xeon 2620 V2 6-core CPU, so 12 cores, 24 threads. Pretty powerful system. I don't use it for rendering or anything like that. It's just for storage and like hosting Nextcloud and other stuff like that on it. And I have 6 drives in it right now at 8 terabytes a piece, so quite a bit of storage space in there. It ends up being, I think, 32 terabytes-ish total after the RAID Z2 configuration and everything. But the thing is really annoyingly loud. That's been like a significant problem for me for a while now, and this is actually my home theater area. Behind the camera is my TV, my HTPC, stuff like that. You can probably see I've got speakers here for the surround sound. I have to kind of compact everything. I don't have a ton of space here. And so this is my studio, my server area, and my home theater area. And I've had some issues with the noise, both bothering people while watching movies, as well as bothering me while I'm sleeping, because I sleep in the room next over. So I wanted to make it quieter. In the first part of that project, I replaced the 2 rear fans in the system, which were 80mm fans, with Noctua NFA8s, and that helped a good amount, along with replacing the 3 80mm intake fans that go right behind the drives, so they're not blowing air into the drives, but sucking air through the drives. And those were the green series from SuperMicro, which are lower RPM, quite a bit quieter, but it still annoys me, and the power supplies are also still very annoying. So the changes that I have made here, well, as of right now, only one of them's happened. This part's coming up in a sec. So I swapped all 3 of those green fans with 80mm Noctua NFA8s. And the thing is quite a bit quieter now, except for the fact that the power supply is even noisier because there's less overall airflow in the system. Yes, the drives run hotter. I'm still below 50 degrees Celsius in all the drives, so that's comfortable for 24/7. So there will be a part 3 of this video. Unfortunately, I wanted to try and do more today, but there is going to be a part 3 that's going to be the finale of Project Shut the Fuck Up. The goal to basically reduce temperatures while still keeping the noise levels relatively okay, because right now the system is running a little bit hotter than I would prefer. It's still within safety margin. I'm still at like 48 degrees under a pretty heavy load Celsius on the drives. They're rated to 60 degrees, but I like to keep drives below 50 because, in fact, up until about 4 or 5 years ago, most drives said 50°C was the maximum recommended operating temperature for them. So I like to keep it below that, even though newer drives say they can go hotter. It's still better to keep it cooler, right? But that's still warmer than I prefer. And then the CPU under heavy load has hit into the 60-degree range, which to anybody here that's a desktop user may not sound like a lot, but for servers, that's quite a bit. Server chips, you tend to run them cooler. They are running lower clock speeds and lower voltages, so that is kind of high. It's not within the unsafe territory. It's the same silicon that you'll use in a lot of consumer chips that can run at 90 degrees without a problem. These are, I think, 80 degrees or 85. I can't remember what the 28 nanometer from Intel was rated at, but it's still within the realm of okay. But also, since this is a FreeNAS system, that CPU never really is fully loaded, and I haven't been able to push it to 100%. So I'm a little worried about it. Anyway, point is, that stuff will be coming in part 3 to reduce temperatures more, but this one is still more about noise. So the thing I've already done is, like I mentioned, I replaced those 3 80mm fans with Noctua NFA8s that go in the middle plate there. And then I also sealed off the side vents for the server, except for the one by the power supply. And that is going to force pretty much all of the air for those 80mm fans to come through the drives, which did help with temperatures quite a lot. But since I only have the 6 drives loaded in there right now instead of a full 24, there is more airflow coming through those empty bays than the full bays, because there's, well, path of least resistance, right? And I don't have the blockers for it, so I actually, just for a fun test, put plastic wrap around those last remaining 18 drives, and that reduced temperatures quite a bit on the drives. We're talking like 10 degrees Celsius, but it also increased noise more and looked tacky, so it was just kind of a fun thing. Point is, I would like to have some more airflow, But to make things a little bit quieter, because the power supplies are currently the loudest thing in there, I also have these beefy new power supplies. And they're not actually brand new, because these are like 400 a piece directly from SuperMicro, I think. Server stuff is pretty expensive. But I got these used in pretty good condition. They're actually barely even scratched. In fact, from the looks of it, it looks like they were probably put in a server and taken out of that server one time, because they're not scratched up like crazy. And that's not abnormal for server stuff. For those of you that don't follow server stuff a lot, when you remove pretty much any component in terms of like hot swap stuff, you tend to get some scratching on the components. They are not built to like make sure nothing scratches usually, and that's just something I've come across. But anyway, these are the 920 watt, and they are two of them for redundancy, so the system's still only a max of 920 watts, but you have these in there for redundancy, and they're 80 plus platinum rated, and supposedly a lot quieter. Now, I haven't actually heard them in person, so I'm going off of what people said online, but everybody else that's tried to make one of these SuperMicro chassis quiet enough to sit next to it, basically, they have swapped these and said that it's been okay. So I'm hoping that this makes the thing nearly silent, because that's the loudest thing in this rack right now. And then after that will be part 3, which is going to involve some custom machining and stuff like that to really quiet this thing down. So that'll be a lot of fun, and I'll bring that to you guys. So I'll try to get some footage here for you guys of me actually installing them, but as you probably can't tell very well in this video, but over here there's very little space behind this rack. I'm going to do what I can to try and get some kind of camera angle back in there, but there's also almost no light. It's only enough for the doors to open on the back side there, for me to squeeze around in there and work on the back end of the servers. So we'll see how that goes, but either way, I'll be back to tell you guys how the results are in terms of noise level, because I'm really hoping these make a difference and help me sleep a little better at night. Alright everybody, I'm sure this isn't the cleanest footage, so I'm just doing what I can here. It's fairly cramped, so like I said, I'll do the best I can to film here. So the server is currently powered off. You can probably tell these fans here are not spinning. Now the power supply fans are still spinning, and that is actually one of the key differences between the SQ series and the regular power supplies for the SuperMicro servers. Is the SQ series, they shut off the power supply fans whenever they're turned off. Now I'm not 100% sure why they run them. The only guess I can have is you've got the IPMI in here, which is like your remote management that runs 24/7 no matter what. You can actually probably maybe tell that the lights are flashing on the network card here. Now that's the IPMI, well, the one I've chosen for the IPMI dedicated network card, so that's flashing because that's still running. So there is some small amount of power being consumed, and the only thing I can assume is that that is why the power supply fans run. But if I unplug them, they won't beep at me like they normally would when you unplug them. And then I just gotta wait for the capacitors to drain, and they will get quiet. There we go. And now the rack is nice and quiet. So I'm gonna pull these ones out, and then probably have to readjust some. Oh boy, it's cramped. And put the new ones in, and hopefully they function and don't break. Now you can hot swap these power supplies. That is something I mentioned. However, since I'm changing to a new one, and I'm not sure how the controller for the power supplies works on this system, I wanted to just shut it down just in case. But the connectors do look the same on these as they do on the new ones, so that's good. There are supposed to be ones that work for this. That model number is supposed to be the model number that works in this chassis with this particular back plane for the power supplies. A lot of dust, yes I know. Okay, time to grab the new ones. Oof, you have to stand up. Kind of fun. Maybe I can get you guys a shot of the inside there. It's pretty unique looking, actually. And yes, I know my cable work's a mess. In fact, you probably can see it better up there, but I'm working on cleaning that up. There we go, let's see. Kind of interesting back there, at least in my opinion. Lots of capacitors and all that fun stuff. And I do apologize again, guys, about the quality of this. It's very hard to put that camera back in here, so like I said, dealing with what I can. And as you can see, the connectors are pretty much identical on this. Well, hopefully, as you can see. So, in theory, they should work. Good to go on that. I guess It's not clicking in for some reason. A little bit of trouble getting them to click in here, but there we go. Whoops. There we go. Okay, there. I've never had server supplies this rough in terms of getting them to fit into position. They're just not wanting to click in as well. There we go. That's better. That was what I was looking for. Alright. Now I'll plug them back in and we'll see if they spin up. In theory, they should not spin up. They should just stay off. But we'll find out. They might spin up for a second, but... Okay, didn't turn on. Didn't turn on. So now will be the chance to go power it up and see how much quieter it is and see if it's just that much more bearable, and then I'll get back to you guys. All right, everybody, the new power supplies are in, and all I can really say is wow, that is a amazing, just absolutely massive difference. I can't believe that it's that big of a difference, considering these are 80 plus gold rated, the other ones are 80 plus platinum rated. Yeah, these are a little bit more powerful. They're 1,000 watts instead of the 920 on that one, and maybe that is allowing them to remove some capacitors or something inside, and that's helping with the airflow, which is also helping reduce the noise. I'm not entirely sure, but they are so much quieter. It's going to be way better in here watching movies, way better for sleeping, way better just in general. Now the loudest thing in the rack, oddly enough, is the fan for my 10 gigabit network card for the FreeNAS, so it's still the loudest machine in the room and the loudest machine in the rack. However, it's just a light ticking noise. It's not really enough that's going to like be a major problem. Maybe someday I will replace it or just remove the fan, unplug it altogether, because honestly there's pretty good airflow through that chassis once I do my next mod, which will be in part 3. So then I can probably just safely remove that fan off of it and just leave the heatsink on that 10 gig networking card. But this is just amazing. I am so happy with it. I kind of wish I'd done it sooner, because people on eBay are selling these 80 plus platinum ones for somewhere along the lines of like $60 to maybe $90, depending on time and shipping costs and stuff like that. But I mean, that's an incredibly good deal for two 920 watt power supplies, and they're a lot quieter, really easy to use, fully hot swappable and everything. So that's super awesome. And now I have these two 80 plus gold units that I can go ahead and use for backups. So if one of those ever does die, I've got something to slot into it immediately without having to worry about ordering something or even trying to find something on eBay if there's nothing available at the time. Now hopefully those never fail, of course, but it's nice to have that little comfort there. So I think that's pretty much it for you guys, though. I think the next video, part 3, is going to be the really fun one for everybody here. It's going to be something that you either need a machine shop or a pretty big 3D printer to really do a good job with, but maybe some other people can come up with even better, simpler ideas to do it. I just luckily know somebody that owns a machine shop, so the plan is to try and build something out of aluminum. But thank you everybody so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and don't forget to like, subscribe, leave your comments down below. Let me know if you have one of these SuperMicro chassis, the 24 bay edition. There's a couple different models of them, so I'm not going to spit off the model numbers, but the 24 bay full 3.5 inch drive ones, there's a couple different years of them, but they're really similar layout. Let me know if you have one and what you've done to make it quieter, or if you just don't care and you've left it all stock in a garage on a server rack or something like that. My rack had to go here in the home theater. That was the only good spot for it in this place, and so here I have it. But thank you again, everybody, and I will see you all in the next video and in part 3. Thank you for watching.